I want to be able to take this 17 diapers thing and really just make it explode even more. I want to take it kind of to the next level.
Nurse Hannah, the girl that had 17 dirty diapers around her house, posted a video where her son is flinching when the dad is handing him a frozen item.
There's no hitting, there's no biting of any sort. If you bite, I'm gonna bite you.
She was so negative and like she complained so much.
I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that.
I put it out there that she comes from a very wealthy family.
I don't spend $20 on clothes for myself. Why would I spend $20 on him? I voluntarily give 10% of my money to the Mormon church every single paycheck.
So I just paid $600 in tithing. When I pay tithing, I'm telling God, thank you. That's what tithing is to me.
I'm sorry, but I can't spend $35 on a toddler jacket.
I just needed to lubricate my lips and throat because I'm about to spill hella cheese, man.
Hello, I'm Salem, and welcome to my commentary channel, where we take serious topics and dissect them in a not-so-serious way. Today's topic, this Mormon TikTok mommy vlogger from hell, also known as Nurse Hannah.
Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are excited to see me back. It's just not the same when we're apart. I just know my ops here on YouTube were happy to see that I was gone for a bit and that I was sick yet again. But I'm back and I'm here to complain and ruin everything. Yes ma'am, yes I am. But this time I truly am back with a lot of questions. Like, why is the world round? Why do I get sick all the time? I think it's healthy for us to ask ourselves questions. And I think this TikTok mom, Nurse Hannah, needs to really sit down and ask herself some questions such as, why are you the way that you are?
There's no hitting, there's no biting of any sort. If you do that, I'm just gonna do it right back to you. If you bite, I'm gonna bite you.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
I'm here to do the deep analysis, deep lore, dissection, incision, anesthesia, the whole medical procedure
Behind the story of Nurse Hannah, and trust, I'll do a better job than she does at her own nursing job.
Now I know what it's like to be busting your butt off as a CNA and to look over at the freaking nurse's station. Like, I don't know what we fed these patients today, but it was just nonstop crazy all day long. Everybody had their runs. Nobody liked their meals. They all wanted something alternative. People were refusing their showers, though they said they didn't get their shower yesterday, so they need it today. Oh my gosh, I was so ticked. I wanted to like explode on them.
I just know that she beats on them elderly patients. Like, I'm not even playing, bro. She gives me those vibes.
You actually probably have heard of this person. Nurse Hannah on TikTok actually went viral a while back for being known as the 17 diapers mom.
Let's pick up all the dirty diapers I have lying around my house right now. I kid you not, my guess is probably 15. I promise you, I'm not even exaggerating, this has only been 24 hours. So I'm counting just 4 diapers right here on the coffee table. Okay, so right away I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 diapers. So that's 8, 9. I think if I counted right, that's 17 diapers lying around my house. No wonder my house freaking stinks right now.
Which I, for one, think is disgusting, but go off, you know.
But many people sympathized with the video and started to view Nurse Hannah as a hardworking mother who is also struggling to be postpartum, saying that she was brave and vulnerable for sharing her journey. But little did people know that the reason why she's dirty in the first place is because she was so rich and privileged growing up that she never learned how to clean because they had a literal cleaning lady that cleaned everything for them. But I digress. Nurse Hannah garnered almost 500,000 followers from that video and garnered a bunch of supporters, and she knew that her TikTok was growing and she wanted to take full advantage of that.
I want to be able to take this 17 diapers thing and really just make it explode even more. I want to take it kind of to the next level. Make it like a name, a brand, something that really means so much so that when someone sees and hears 17 diapers, they know exactly what that means. They know that's moms supporting moms, getting rid of the mom shaming, moms supporting moms.
Moms supporting moms.
I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that.
Girl, shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that?
Which then led to viewers, especially viewers like me, because y'all know I do not play around when it comes to the children. I love children. My platform, we do not let people get away with exposing children, using them for monetary gain, or any of the sort. So I will always step in. And I did my own research, and I found so much more horrible things that this TikTok mom has done that is way worse
than the 17 diapers video and also the flinching video. I have actual evidence of neglect, abuse, and just downright deplorable behavior.
Stuff like this.
Her and her husband flicking and slapping their child's hand away from food. Her visibly rolling her eyes whenever her children speak to her. Saying that she bites and hits her kids back when they hit and bite her. Her tugging and pushing her child, flopping down her kid like they're nothing, giving her baby a jalapeno as a prank, or constantly complaining about finances, complaining that $35 is too much for a winter coat that her kid desperately needs, despite her not only bragging about making more than $130K a year as a nurse and coming from a rich family, but also being able to send up to $800 each paycheck to the Mormon church. Yeah, I went down a pretty deep dark hole for this one, and I found so much stuff that not a lot of people are talking about.
If you're married, does your husband control your bank account? Because he controls mine. He controls how much money I spend, and he controls everything with finances. That's a happy marriage to me. So I'm a nurse and I'm working as a CNA today, and today was the first time I've ever had to hand a patient a brief and a pack of wipes and say, do it yourself. Last time when I was pregnant with my son, I didn't go to the doctor until I was about 25 weeks, but I think I just learned that it's not that necessary.
And can you believe there's still people to this day who are defending her, following her, giving her roses, telling people not to hate on her? Stuff like this deeply affects children until they get older and have their own children. This isn't funny, this isn't a game, this is very serious, and I'm here to talk about it. Also, she's Mormon, and that for me was the final nail in the coffin. Like, girl, she really is the next Ruby Frankie.
Which is actually something I'm going to be talking about more in depth in this video as well, because it seems like whenever there is a toxic mommy vlogger, religion seems to always be intertwined with it. And I actually do think that's for a reason. And I think I have a lot of experience talking about this because I was literally in a church cult as well, so there is a lot we need to talk about.
So get into bed with me, get comfy, grab some Wawa, grab your favorite snack,
and let's talk about this wench.
Canceling's not a thing. You know that, right?
Yeah, but CPS is. And now, a word from our sponsors. Yes, S as in plural, because, well, I like money.
Christmas is just around the corner. You know, the holidays are coming up. Everyone's skedaddling around trying to figure out what to buy the people we love in our lives. And that in itself is already overwhelming, but it's even more overwhelming when you shop online and you have no idea what you're doing. Thankfully, with Shopify, you can make it make sense. Instead of dealing with scattered tools and chaotic logistics, Shopify brings it all together into one organized, neat place. With Shopify, businesses big and small can sell like pros, okay? Shopify has the #1 checkout on the planet with shop bait boosting conversations by up to 50%. That means fewer abandoned carts and way more sales. Literally Allbirds, Skims, Alo. You're doing it right, and Shopify is a huge part of that success. So if you're ready to turn your dream into a reality, or if you're simply curious to see why successful sellers trust Shopify, go sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/SalemTovar. That's shopify.com/SalemTovar. Shopify/SalemTovar. Am I just crazy, or is it genuinely kind of hard to shop for the people you love? You want to get them something good, but also something that's practical and can last. Thankfully, I just saved you guys some time because I found the perfect gift. Aura Frames. Digital picture frame. Aura Frames makes it super easy to share your favorite photos and videos directly from your phone to frame. This year alone, I've taken so many photos, holidays, vacations, and way too many pictures of my dogs. And now, instead of keeping them trapped on my phone or having a billion picture frames, I can share them instantly with my loved ones. What makes Aura even more special is that you can personalize the frame before gifting it. Using the Aura app, you can preload it with thoughtful messages and a selection of photos, like first day of school memories, wedding photos. No matter the distance, it's the perfect way to feel closer. So save on the perfect holiday gift today. Visit auraframes.com and use my exclusive code SALEM to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code SALEM. This deal is for only a limited time, so y'all gotta make sure you shop now.
Discussion topic 1. How viral Mormon mommy TikTok vlogger Nurse Hannah went from relatable to horrible. Or maybe she was always this way.
Who is Nurse Hannah? Why is Nurse Hannah. No, literally, why? This is Nurse Hannah, also known as Hannah Hyatt. Nurse Hannah is a TikToker who showed the daily life of being a nurse and a mom. Videos of how she cooks after working a 12-hour shift. Videos of her on a budget.
Her doing story times about her shifts at her nursing work, get ready with me's, videos about her religion, being with her children, and all around just lifestyle content.
Which on the surface does not sound bad at all. There are so many working moms out there right now, which honestly, it can be so insanely tiring, which is why a lot of people actually looked up to Nurse Hannah on TikTok.
Because unlike many other mommy influencers who also work and seem to be perfect, Nurse Hannah made her content so that it was more so down to earth. Sometimes she would get takeout for dinner instead of, I don't know, making everything from scratch. She would show how sometimes her car was dirty after grocery shopping and basically showed the unglamorous sides to motherhood that isn't really shown on social media. Between the perfect ballerina farms and Nara Smiths of TikTok, Nurse Hannah sought out to be more relatable.
She even at one point had almost 400,000 followers.
And despite all the controversy that I'm going to be deep diving into today, Nurse Hannah is still very much doing very well on TikTok with still over 400,000 followers.
That is how much people really admired this mommy career woman
and still do support and admire her.
Especially after her very first video that went viral was all about being overwhelmed with being a working mom by showing off her very disorganized home with 17 diapers all over.
That's 8, 9. I think if I counted right, that's 17 diapers lying around my house. No wonder my house freaking stinks right now.
Which coined like this huge trend called the 17 diapers moment. Y'all will literally make anything a trend. If I sharted on screen on accident, y'all be like, oh my gosh, the sharding trend. Basically, this started a trend where other women would share their 17 diapers moment being postpartum, or just sharing stories of how they struggled with keeping up a good image and how we need to give moms a lot more grace and sympathy for that, which I agree with to a certain extent.
I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that.
I think there is a major difference between showing off the unglamorized, unfiltered version of motherhood. It's okay to struggle. I understand that it's hard to keep clean and everything, but 17 diapers, sis? Like, the stink don't bother you? Like, it is giving that one episode of SpongeBob where the diapers are literally everywhere, including in the walls.
What kind of father am I?
This moment became so huge that Nurse Hannah got invited onto a talk show to talk about the unfiltered version of mom life. After that, she garnered a really big following on TikTok. A lot of supporters, a lot of people invested into her daily lives and routines.
And this, in my opinion, was her downfall.
I want to be able to take this 17 diapers thing and really just make it explode even more. I want to take it kind of to the next level.
Oh, and trust, she did.
There was like a field trip of kids that came in with like their lunch, and he just kept going up to them and like standing there watching them eat, and I'm like, okay, so obviously you're a little hungry. You're acting like I starve you to death. If you bite, I'm gonna bite you. Not hard, but like enough that like, hey, that doesn't feel good. Cutting things up in really tiny pieces. But like, honestly, I'll give him a strawberry whole like this. Sometimes if I need to get things done and he's screaming, I'm gonna turn on Blippy, all right? Last time when I was pregnant with my son, I didn't go to the doctor until I was about 25 weeks. I think I just learned that it's not that necessary.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Pretty soon, the whole empathetic, innocent mom look for her completely died away as one particular TikTok that she made went viral. I'm talking over 11 million views because something was really off with the behavior of her son. In the video that she posted, her son clearly looks very scared of the dad. He like braces himself for this thing that the dad is giving him. And it's not in a way where he like is flinching like, oh, I thought you were gonna throw it at me and I was gonna catch it. No, it's like a bracing, terrified look, which started to raise a lot of concern about, okay, if they're comfortable enough to have this type of behavior on screen and the kid literally looks terrified, what are they doing behind the scenes? And this in itself also started a trend where people would try to make their kids flinch in order to show that kids actually don't react like that normally, because they don't. I've worked with children basically my whole life and they don't, not unless something is happening. And pretty soon people started to deep dive into Nurse Hannah's TikToks. People found out pretty quickly this woman should have never became a mother, because oh my god, is she so cold and callous towards her son for literally just existing, by the way, that it actually makes my stomach drop. She is like this wicked witch, and not the good kind like Elphaba. Y'all could never drag my sis. I'm talking the kind that just stares at her own kid with such hatred. They flick away and slap this little kid's hands whenever he wants to try a fry. Whenever the kid wants to talk to her, she just rolls her eyes, just like the most nasty attitude. But then again, she's a nurse, so then I'm like, it kind of checks out. Y'all, hold on. All I'm saying is that the meme that says the meanest girls you've ever known in high school always grow up to be two things: being an MLM or a nurse. I'm just saying it's not true. I'm just saying there has to be some sort of correlation there.
She doesn't even like her nursing job, as she makes plenty of videos not only complaining constantly about her job, but she continuously violates HIPAA when sharing patient information for her story times. She's so bad at her job that she has been called into the board of nursing multiple times for her work ethic and behavior.
The first time I ever got a phone call from the Utah Board of Nursing, I think I crapped my pants. I was terrified. They were calling everywhere. I knew I was not doing anything wrong, but people were like, didn't like the bad publicity, I guess. I don't know, that was associated with it. So, and if I lose my nursing license over people on TikTok, then I'm like, I don't know what to do. So we decided to stop the nursing content, which honestly has been the best thing ever. Now I love posting mom stuff.
Also, if up to this point you were under the assumption that she is a single mother, she's actually not. She's married. But don't worry, she complains about him too.
Because he spent $1,500 on hunting gear. And the second he told me how much he spent, I said, happy birthday, because I'm not buying you anything after that. I mean, at this point, let's be real, I honestly don't care. I think it's an investment. It's whatever, we've moved on.
Yet again, straight couples acting as if they can't get divorced.
Now, she started to receive a lot of backlash, to the point where people were threatening to call CPS on her after all these other videos of her being super callous towards her kids started to resurface. And she came out with a apology video, if you can even call it that.
So the fact that I even have to address this right now is kind of insane. Social media is just, it's a scary place. And I never understood people that much when they said they couldn't share their kids' faces online, or they couldn't share much about their kids. I didn't really understand it, but it's crazy. If you were to know me in real life, this whole lazy husband thing, it's satire. Nothing's going on. I promise, and when I promise this, I'm serious. Nothing is going on.
Girl. Lies. Liza Minnelli.
Even though Nurse Hannah tried starting her TikTok on the basis of being a relatable mom, once she blew up, it seems like she wanted to recreate that moment time and time again by complaining about her husband, complaining constantly about her job, complaining about her children, mistreating her children, only for it to completely blow up in her face. It's really difficult to believe that all of this is satirical, especially because there are other people in Nurse Hannah's life who have come out to talk about how sis has always been this way. But not only that, she has been lying constantly about her lifestyle. One of the biggest reasons why so many people defend Nurse Hannah is because she has falsely accumulated this image that she is struggling financially and that she comes from an impoverished background. So therefore she lacks the resources to buy a winter coat for her son. She lacks the resources to hire a babysitter. She lacks the resources to buy her son lunch, to buy diapers, which is why she quote unquote never really changes him when he pees. But in reality, she comes from a very wealthy family. And Nurse Hannah's ex-best friend actually went viral on TikTok for talking about this.
17 diaper lady, Nurse Hannah was one of my best friends growing up. At one point was like my best friend. And I see a lot of people like kind of defending her or like justifying certain things because of finances. And I just want to put it out there that she comes from a very wealthy family. Her dad is a very successful doctor, huge house, brand new installed pool at the time, full-blown basketball court, the huge garage with all the different toys. Her uncle, even on her mom's side, owns a Chick-fil-A. Like, she's a part of the Mormon church. Her dad was a bishop, so she knows the resources that she has available. So like everyone that's like, oh, like you could like get a coat this way. Like she knows. She definitely knows. You have the resources available to you. You can reach out to your family members, your church community.
So how is it that $35, a necessity for your kid, by the way, for a winter coat during winter times is too much? You are educated enough to know that a lot of the stuff that you're doing is neglect and harmful and also just downright disgusting. I find it very shocking that there are people who are still defending her. People saying that this is what real motherhood looks like. You wouldn't understand. This was mean survival mode. Is it survival mode? Or is it just being mediocre and being horrible and having zero maternal instincts whatsoever? And I'm shocked that a lot of you guys will applaud and normalize this type of behavior. But this is what happens when we normalize it and continue to support it. It gets worse and it gets worse until someone ends up getting arrested or someone calls CPS on someone. Understand that not everyone has the privilege to make their kids like green smoothies and buy everyone $40 salads for their kids for lunch. I get that. I get some people are in survival mode, are burnt out, have no help. But those are the people who have no help, no resources, no money. Nurse Hannah has all of that. She comes from a rich family. She has a literal nursing degree and job. She's also clearly active in the church. And I know for a damn fact that the Mormon church be helping everyone. So y'all tell me, someone who has all those resources and everything has the right to complain that their child wants a bite of their sandwich because it's too expensive. At this point, it is not survival mode. It's not good job, Mama Bear. It's neglect and being lazy.
And I've talked about this in so many videos where I talk about influencer parenting and just parenting in general. You do not need money to be a good parent. It is literally the bare minimum to treat your child with basic human kindness. It costs $0 to be kind to your child. It seems that Nurse Hannah and her husband just seem to be greedy people in general. Growing up in that privilege probably made her so used to receiving that she's not used to sacrifice. And when you have children, you need to sacrifice, which has probably made her really resentful towards her children. Her trying to justify giving $800 to the Mormon church versus not wanting to buy a $35 jacket that her child desperately needs during the winter time is insane to me and comes off as religious psychosis. If she was raised in the fundamentalist Mormon church, I wouldn't be surprised that this is what was actively being taught to her parents and why she may think that this type of child rearing and approach to everything in life is okay. No matter what the Book of Mormon says or the Bible says or any religious literature says, it's not okay to treat your kids like this. Period. Discussion topic 2, from 17 diapers to the 7 deadly sins. How the church, social media, and monetary desire turned mommy Nurse Hannah into a monster.
Now, I'm not gonna say nothing about the religion because, you know, I love me my Mormons, but I will say, unfortunately, in those occult-like religions, they still very much believe in the quiverful movement and traditionalistic marriages, and that 100% shows in Hannah's parenting style.
If you haven't watched my YouTube video where I talk about how I was raised in a cult-like church, I highly recommend that you go watch it because there's a lot of things I'm gonna bring up in this section that directly ties to that video. There has been, throughout these past years, a subtle and also not so subtle rise of Christian Mormon content creators on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram that it's actually shocking. Nara Smith, Ballerina Farm, people like Nurse Hannah, and all of them belong to one specific faith, which is Mormonism. Mormons do believe in the traditionalistic Christian values and teachings, except the main difference is that they believe that this random white guy named Joseph Smith actually had all the truth and the rest of the Bible, and additional texts such as the Doctrine and the Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. I mean, they also believe that all people of color come from the curse of Cain and that the Garden of Eden is located in Jackson County, Missouri. And they do have very different beliefs compared to traditional Christians, such as not drinking alcohol or caffeine. They believe in eternal progression, baptism for the dead, of course, something called eternal marriage. Now let me cook because this ties into what I'm talking about. Mormons believe that marriage is eternal, meaning that the relationship between a husband and wife continues even after death, which is considered the celestial marriage, which is why marriage and child rearing is a very very big deal for them. And that is why all of these traditionalistic housewife, quiverful relationships that have like 10 kids that you see on social media are actually 9 times out of 10 connected to Mormonism, and why all of their content seems to surround child rearing, mommy vlogging stuff, making stuff from scratch, and also having very rigorous traditional marriages where the mom just stays home and the father is not really around because he's busy providing for the family. I have seen this switch up on TikTok recently where people are defending Nurse Hannah because they're like, it's the dad's fault. It still doesn't explain as to why she's so casually cruel to her child. But not only that, she partakes in the abuse alongside with her husband, despite her saying that her husband is like the best thing ever.
This whole lazy husband thing, it's satire. My husband is the sweetest, nicest, kindest, most loving, most nurturing father in the entire world. He is playing on the ground with James like 90% of the day. If that man is not laughing, having fun, teasing him, playing with him, whatever it is, then I don't know, then something's wrong, because those two have the strongest bond, the strongest father-son bond that I know of anyone else. Our very first stop were $9 lobster rolls. Technically we got a lobster roll, a fried shrimp roll.
Sure, Jan. It takes two to tango, and they clearly feed off of each other's negativity and both believe that they're doing right by their church or God or something by enacting both their roles through authority, aggressiveness, toxic traditionalism. Whenever the husband is shown on screen, he seems very detached. There's a video of them on a family outing and it just seems so awkward. There's no family chemistry there, but there's also no like marriage chemistry there. But their lack of chemistry and trusting each other is actually really explained by the fact that Nurse Hannah has admitted that they got married within 6 months of knowing each other and then immediately having children.
When I was on my mission, our moms met. Because then I came home after the COVID situation. My husband ended up coming home 6 weeks later, and that's where we met. And literally we went on a date the day after he came home, which was mid-July, and we were married in December.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if that pressure was led on by people through the church that highly value family and children almost immediately. The majority of times the result is a toxic marriage with a power imbalance, a cruel husband, a miserable mother, and the kids are left to deal with all of their problems, which explains a lot about the whole family dynamic. So for me, I don't think it's necessarily Nurse Hannah. I don't necessarily think it's the dad's fault. It is a church and family unit problem that they have. And even if stuff is going on behind the scenes, again, divorce is always an option, but unfortunately, I fear that many churches, instead of helping out with the divorce, will try to make clearly broken marriages work, and that is insanely scary and toxic.
If you're married, does your husband control your bank account? Because he controls mine. He controls how much money I spend, and he controls everything with finances. Like every week, I'll give you the paycheck, you tell me what to do with it. That's a happy marriage to me.
See, this is another very traditionalistic, like cult-like religious old belief that the male has to be in charge of nothing but the finances. And that's not normal. When you're married, you're a team. You need to share everything. This is really weird. Except for my husband. If you're watching this, your money's mine. So thank you.
When that footage first came out, many people were starting to defend Nurse Hannah yet again and said that she's in a financially abusive relationship, which again, a lot of this stems off of their very own religious beliefs. Does that make it right? Not really, but it is what it is. It's most likely that Nurse Hannah doesn't see a problem with this at all, as she is very stubborn when it comes to finances and church, to the point where she gives almost $800 of her check, every single check, to the Mormon church, despite constantly complaining about finances.
10% to the church every single paycheck. I don't care if you're making $10 or if you're making $1 million a paycheck. 10% goes to the church. Before we pay any bill, before I do anything, spend any money on a paycheck, 10% goes to the church. Because if you're gonna pay all of your bills first and then you're like, crap, we have nothing left over, I wanna hold on to this. I wanna put this towards the trip we have planned, or I wanna put this towards a new shopping spree, 10% goes to the church, to the Lord, before you spend anything. Because then you're not tempted by it, and you will always be blessed every single time.
Girl, not the heavy breathing and the religious psychosis eyeballs. Also, actually, that's not how it works. If you are giving and doing tithing in hopes to receive something back, that literally destroys the whole purpose of trying to give with a genuine heart to the Lord as an act of worship. Guys, I'm gonna say something that a lot of people are not gonna like, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I have beef with people who are clearly financially struggling and still choose to tithe. And I think it's disgusting that a lot of religions make it so that you have to give 10% of your paycheck to them, even if they have no idea where that money is going to.
I voluntarily give 10% of my money to the Mormon church every single paycheck, and I'm 100% sure it does not go to the pastor. It is going to a fund to build churches, to build temples, to help out the poor, to help with like food banks and things like that. Like, I'm 100% sure it's not going to the pastor, preacher, the leaders' bank accounts.
The whole point of tithing is that supposedly you're giving back what God has blessed you with. I understand that. But a lot of people partake in tithing as if they're going to get that money back, and it's most likely that you're not. This is why we should probably tax the churches, but I digress. You guys can disagree with me, but when I have a family, I'm going to choose my family over giving money to the church. There are so many different ways that you can give back to God, and finances is not just the only way to do that, especially if I find myself in a dilemma where I am willing to give $800 to the church, but I'm not willing to spend $35 on a winter coat for my kid when it's winter time.
This is how cold the car is. This is literally rock freaking solid. It turned winter in like 0.2 days, and this kid doesn't have a big jacket, so I need to find him a big jacket. I'm sorry, but I can't spend $35 on a toddler jacket.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I'm an LPN, I make over $100,000 a year, and I give 10% of all of my money to the Mormon church, and let me tell you why. It might not be easy in the fact that, like, giving 10% of your money away, like, you could spend it on other things, yes, but it's something that I can just do it and just not even think about, and I know for 100% fact that I will receive such great blessings from that. My family will be blessed, I will be blessed, my husband, my life, we will be blessed.
But unfortunately, in many of these cult-like religions, they are taught that you don't question what the church teaches, even if they teach spanking your children and everything. Which, if you guys didn't know, I used to be in a cult as well. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend that you go see it. And they did teach very similar things. And they even taught my parents, like, if you don't hit your kids, you're not holy enough. Which was so crazy. Like, to the point where my church sold, like, hitting paddles with a Bible verse on it. And I would not be surprised if something similar is going on in the background, because people don't react like this normally unless they're being told what to believe in, and what they believe in is probably you know what I mean?
The most dangerous part of all of this is when the religion goes unchecked, when the social media usage goes unchecked, bad things can happen. And when I say bad, I mean really bad things. People have been calling Nurse Hannah Ruby Frankie 2.0 because they share a lot of similarities, even down to the same religion, facial expressions, and stuff that they believe in, such as hitting and biting your kid back when they do that to you.
You can discipline them to my rules. There's no hitting, there's no biting of any sort. If you do that, I'm just gonna do it right back to you. If you bite, I'm gonna bite you. Not hard, but like enough that like, hey, that doesn't feel good.
Which is not only strange, but can be a slippery slope into just full-on abuse if that's not what it is already. And if you guys don't know who Ruby Frankie is, she was a massive YouTuber and social media influencer who was a mommy Mormon vlogger who actually recently got arrested for being guilty of 4 counts of aggravated child abuse, all under the umbrella of her religion, corporal punishment beliefs, and just overall horrific child rearing attitudes. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Nurse Hannah soon meets the same fate.
Ms. Frankie, how do you plead to count 1, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
To count 3, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
To count 5, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
And to count 6, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
With my deepest regret and sorrow for my family and my children, guilty.
Discussion topic 3. Every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. When you watch Nurse Hannah's videos and how she treats her kids and how she acts and talks to her kids and everything, you can tell that this is a person that just should have never had kids. She absolutely treats her children like they are little burdens on her who are wasting her time and are impeding in her personal space.
Why?
I know some people are gonna call me dramatic. Honestly, I don't think so. Like, there's just a visceral gut reaction that I feel when I watch those videos of how she tugs and pulls the kids. What happened to verbal correction? Why do you have to slap and swat him away like he's some sort of fly? It just gives me the energy of like she just does not want them to be there. It's not only the tugging and the throwing and stuff like that, it's also how she talks to him.
And so I did not feel like having James go into the house and just wrecking it and destroying the whole house before he went to bed. This one's mom's water. So I cleaned the house for 3 hours, so I could have this.
It takes so long.
And I wanted to rip my hair out when I woke up at 7:30 to James banging on his door trying to get out. Yes, we do lock his door at night so we can't get out. So him banging on the door is how he wakes us up in the morning. Crazy.
Through a lot of these videos, she either looks visibly annoyed at her kid for, again, just simply existing and being a kid, but she'll also like be stone-faced with him and very cold. It's very weird. And I'm a person who really tries not to, you know, judge based off of first interactions or from what I see from a short clip. But girl, it's every single video that she's complaining. The way that she speaks gives very much like angry. So again, call me Judge Judy because I'm judging.
Hey, it's not like the man's gonna have fun in jury duty, but I mean, there's no kids. Actually, my 2-month-old has been sick his entire life, and we're just barely getting over it.
Well, no, I guess not anymore, because that was my only glass straw in my entire house. But yeah, that thing shattered to a million pieces. The last thing I needed was my toddler running and stepping all over a bunch of glass.
The last thing I needed is for my toddler to be running towards a bunch of glass.
How about you be more concerned that your kid has cuts? Or that he's okay, instead of that being an inconvenience for you? What the hell? That's so weird. This is how she talks. Trash. Anyways, there has been videos of her even straight up moving a chair. Yes, moving a chair while her kid is standing on it and her not caring whatsoever, causing her kid to fall. She actively treats this child like he's a burden. And then they had a second. I hate when hoes do that. Why do hoes continuously have kids that they don't care about, and they bring these innocent children into these environments that are chaotic and cold and terrible simply because they want to? Like, it just bothers the living hell out of me. Rolling your eyes while your child speaks is so harmful as well. No wonder this kid literally is terrified of you guys. No wonder this kid is scared of the father, because he joins in on the flicking and slapping and rolling of the eyes whenever he dares to exist around you guys. I don't think a lot of people understand the negative impact that is already having on the child and will have on the child for years to come. Rolling their eyes while this child speaks, whatever it is that they say has no value to them, because they're going to just be disinterested, or the child is not going to feel safe enough to be near the parents because they're actively making him feel like he is bothersome, so therefore he shouldn't dare to talk to them or impede in their time and space. Even though it's like, girl, children do that. Children jump. Children ask for a chicken nugget. Children ask questions because they're children. Not only that, kids are emotional sponges and they can feel that. I hate when people talk about kids like they're these stupid alien creatures that don't notice when adults are rolling their eyes at them, when adults clearly are bothered by them. Children can feel that. People may not think that it's damaging to ignore a child or treat them this way because they're like, they're not gonna remember. First of all, they do, and there is literal scientific proof that it does
does affect them. Literally, the still face experiment tells us everything that we need to know about treating a child like this, the way Nurse Hannah treats her child, and the long-term effects that it can have. The still face experiment was developed by Dr. Edward Tronick in the 1970s, which is a psychological study that demonstrates the importance of a caregiver and their responsiveness in infant development and childhood rearing. In the experiment, a mother or caregiver interacts playfully and responsively with her baby. Then she suddenly adopts a still face.
The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points,
remaining unresponsive, expressionless, and disengaged for a short period. And the baby typically reacts with confusion, distress, and will also have bids for attention to re-engage the caregiver. But if the unresponsiveness persists, the baby often becomes visibly upset and withdraws.
Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Which looks a lot like how Hannah's kid looks. Children rely on attachment and trust, so it's very important for their caregivers to be attentive and to talk to them normally. That is how they develop a sense of security and trust in their caregivers and environment.
The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
So if their caregiver is always treating them like they're a burden, flicking their hands away, being casually cruel to them, they are going to grow to feel like they don't trust you or that they're unloved and unwanted.
Many parents will get upset at the fact that their kids are acting out or quote unquote being annoying or doing so many bad things or destroying things. But another thing about the still face experiment is that they found parents with children who throw tantrums or act out more often than other kids is because they feed into the child's negative behaviors and attitudes by not having enough positive interactions with the child, which makes the child want to act out even more because the only time that they get interaction from the father or mother is when they act out. Children don't break things or purposefully be malicious. There's always a reason behind it, and many times the reason is attention. And to continuously roll your eyes or not show them affection with your face or with words of affirmation can affect them negatively.
And the fact that this woman still has so many support and followers shows me that there are a lot of still-faced mothers and fathers out there who should have never had kids. And that is so terrifying and scary to even think about. It also explains why, right now in the educational system and the public school system, kids are just so rude and unkind and are like little bullies because they are being bullied themselves at home. These are the things people don't think about when having children. They don't think about the long run, the long-term things. They just have kids to have kids because the church wanted them to have kids or because their parents wanted them to have kids. But then when that happens, you get people like this who are clearly miserable not only in their marriage but in their child rearing experience. Now, I have shown you guys the evidence. I have told you guys my opinion on it and why I am not supporting her whatsoever. I think it's ridiculous that there are people out there who are still saying, "Good job, Mama Bear, you're the best, you're trying your best." Again, that's what I gotta say to that. Apparently, after all this controversy, she said that people need to calm down because, well, it's satire.
It's satire.
I know I shared this same exact clip earlier in the video, but I never really dissected it. But let's do that now.
I am so done with people not knowing what true satire is. You actually have to be very smart to be able to properly execute real satirical comedy. And quite frankly, darling, you are nothing like that. You are nothing of the sort. Let's talk about real satirical comedy versus whatever this is.
I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that.
because this is not comedy. Satirical comedy is a genre of humor that uses irony, exaggeration, yes, ridicule and criticism to highlight flaws, absurdities, or contradictions, right? However, it's mostly about society, people, and culture, not your own children in marriage. There are so many people on TikTok who actually do satirical comedy. Some of my favorites are the people who make fun of Nara Smith and Lucky Blue Smith.
Today is one of those nights.
They twisted their vibe.
Buggins, I've gotten lucky into it.
Oh, last night my husband said that he wanted to eat my buns for dinner. So I went ahead and I bought some and we're gonna try them for you.
Look, if I had to see that, so do you.
I think someone who's actually really good at this, I actually love her content so much. Her name is Sarah Clyde, I think. She has 1.4 million followers on TikTok, and she always makes fun of people by being satirical and ironic. And she does it in a way where it's actually funny.
And sometimes a little too real.
I literally never hang out with other females because they're way too much drama, but get ready with me to have a girls' day. That felt so weird to say, but unfortunately my boy best friend has been dating this one chick, and she's like super insecure and uncomfortable with our friendship, so he really wants us to meet. I was just Snapchatting Jack and I'm like, you owe me for making me hang out with your little girl. Jack, I'm gonna fight you for making me do this. You're so annoying.
It's not real. It's just a skit. It's just a skit. Also, ironically enough, Sarah has actually made a TikTok making fun of Nurse Hannah.
This morning, the weather app said that it was -5 degrees outside, which means that I have to buy my baby a jacket, but I checked online and the jackets are $35. I'm sorry, but I'm not spending that much money on a stupid baby. I could use that money for Taco Bell for my husband and I or something. For all the Karens attacking me because I said I only changed my baby's diaper when he goes number 2, I'm sorry, but he could literally pee in it 17 times and I'm not changing it unless it's full of literal shit. To all the haters, I did change his diaper after 48 hours and I just threw it on the dining room table.
To say that this is satirical is literally just a cover up for your own ass. It's not satirical. What you're doing is just straight up rage bait. You're trying to get people angry at the expense of your marriage and your children, and that's very strange. A child doesn't know when their parent is being ironic or satirical. All they know is that whenever mom turns on the camera, she's really mean to me. And if anything, that's even more confusing for the kid. Or who knows if she's actually worse behind the camera towards her children. You can be satirical and ironic all you want, but to include children into it who don't understand what's going on is evil and is so wrong. People who make content out of complaining are literally just the worst. At least I complain about things that involve intellectual conversation, okay? You don't see me out here exploiting my damn kid and being like, ugh, my life is so hard because they asked me for a chicken nugget. Your child jumping around asking you why the sky is blue aren't problems. Those aren't problems. They might get annoying every now and then, but I mean, it's just a kid being a kid. And quite frankly, it is so privileged for someone to complain that their child gets to be a child. The reason why this is such a topic that really bothers me and really touches my heart is because I don't know. This kind of personal, but for many of you guys who don't know, and many of you guys who do know, I have something called PCOS. Now, this is a disorder that just really kills my organs, but also my reproductive system. So I don't know if I can have children, even though I want to in the future. Hopefully, if I can. So for some women to be able to have these children and treat them horribly bothers me so bad. But not only that, you are so privileged that your child came out verbal and able-bodied, that it bothers you that they have the ability to run. They have the ability to ask you a question, while many mothers don't get that experience. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I mentioned my sister earlier in the video, how she's also a nurse and a mom, but she's also a special needs mom. We absolutely love her baby. She's literally so cute. My sister's such a great mom. But when it comes to special needs moms, their child rearing looks completely different from moms who have typical children. They don't know if their child is going to be able to have their first words moment. They don't know if their child is going to get the privilege to be able to run around in a field and get to annoy you, ask you questions, interact with you. So for some women and men to view their children as these annoying little parasites for simply existing is the most heart-wrenching thing ever, because what a beauty and privilege it is for your child to want to get to hug you, to want to be with you, to ask you questions, to want to try something new that you're trying as well. I don't understand why people have children, then get bothered when their children act like children. Here's a video of Nurse Hannah describing her kid as too social.
James is literally the most social kid you'll ever meet. Like, social to you.
And it's like, well, he is a kid. So to treat them like they're this mangy, dirty little thing that's getting in the way of your life is the most disheartening thing ever, because some people don't get that privilege. And me bringing up this point has nothing to do with trying to shame people who are parents and be kind of passive aggressive, like, well, because I can't have kids, you need to fulfill my dream and be a good parent. That's not what it is at all. I could care less what people do with their bodies and stuff. My problems and people's problems are not other people's problems. Now, the reason why I do bring up these points is actually because, strangely enough, Nurse Hannah actually agrees with this sentiment, despite being the very type of person that she's talking about.
There are so many good people out there that want babies that can't have them. Or their babies have real problems, real medical problems.
The audacity that you have to come on here and start talking about another woman being neglectful of her child, saying that there's moms that can't have kids, when you, Hannah, are literally the MVP of neglecting your child at this point, and we all think that your child. But you thought you were somebody to come on here and start talking about somebody else and their parents and their mothering situation. Their parenting. You cannot possibly be that tone deaf. Like, there's no way. Then you go on to say, like, oh, you wanted to be famous, now you're famous. I'm gonna say the same to you. That's exactly what you want with your rage bait and all that you do on your platform. Guess what? It's turned into real life and people have reported you to CPS. So you wanted to be famous and now you are. How do you like it? Ugh.
I find it very ironic that Nurse Hannah makes it seem like she cares so much about motherhood and child rearing, even though she herself treats her kids pretty poorly. And for those of you guys who are still defending her or saying, maybe she doesn't know or she doesn't do it on purpose, well, sis was brave enough to be under the assumption that she is a good enough parent to the point where she felt comfortable enough to critique other people's parenting style. And if that doesn't tell you that sis really does not care what she's doing or doesn't realize what she's doing is wrong, then that in itself should tell you everything about her thought process and all of this. I think it's also ironic how she talks about how some women have medical problems and all of these things, yet she went viral a long time ago, even before the whole 17 diapers mom thing, because she would brag about never going to doctor appointments or taking her pregnancy seriously because she quote unquote trusts her body.
Doctor, I just don't think it's that necessary. Like, I feel fine. Baby's growing. I trust my body to grow a baby. Like, what do you think they did back in like 1920? You think they're going to the doctor like 10, 15 times while they were pregnant? No. Last time when I was pregnant with my son, I didn't go to the doctor until I was about 25 weeks. That time it was because of like insurance problems, but I think I just learned that it's not that necessary.
Which is such a privileged thing to say, as there are so many women out there who have complicated pregnancies. But not only that, she refused to do prenatal care.
I'm 27 weeks pregnant. I haven't been to the doctor at all, so let's talk about it. I recently mentioned that I don't do a whole lot of prenatal care in another video, and that ruffled some of y'all's feathers. Insurance has been tricky the last 2 pregnancies, and so I haven't been able to go as much as I would have liked to, but it's also helped me realize that you can grow healthy babies without a whole lot of prenatal care, so I'm not really that worried.
If you don't know why this is kind of problematic, I mean, obviously prenatal care is important because it can prevent complications. It also helps with early detections of issues that your baby can have in the future or is currently having. So to just be like, I'm not gonna do it, it's such a privileged take, but also very not smart. And again, it seems that finances seem to be an ongoing problem. Yet again, we've already established earlier in the video that she's very well off and she has so many resources.
I'm sick of that you're a low paid nurse because I made easy 6 figures in 2023 and we're doing it again in 2024.
If you are lucky enough to be on an insurance program where you have to pay $0 a month,
Or if you have to pay $0 to have a procedure done, or pay $500 for your child born. I've had friends that pay $0 to birth their babies, and I've had friends that have paid $500. But then we are not that fortunate, you know. You have to qualify for programs like that, and we, however, do not qualify for those. So our only other option leaves us, I would talk to insurance companies, and the only quotes they ever give me are ones for like an out-of-pocket deductible or out-of-pocket max with like $13,000, and there's your deductible on top of that, and that is what I cannot afford.
To say that people who have government assisting and pay $0 a month for insurance are privileged and lucky is insane, because everyone that I know who is on government assisting or pays $0 for insurance, and even I, as someone who grew up really poor on free insurance, it is probably the worst care you could ever receive in your life. It's like they know that you can't afford it and they treat you like it. They treat you like you're just some sort of guinea pig. They do not meet your needs. It is very hard to get proper care for free. I mean, in general, healthcare here in America is horrendous. Now that I'm older and I have the privilege to be able to pay out of pocket for a lot of my healthcare, I can say that a lot gets done and I end up getting the care that I want. Sure, the prices still absolutely suck, but at least I can afford it. And I know that my care will actually match the price I'm paying for, which again, it shouldn't be like that, but America runs their country like a business, and unfortunately, health is considered a business here. Also, I do want to mention that the extension of the video I just showed you, it actually shows Nurse Hannah complaining that the reason why she didn't have insurance is because apparently her husband never set them up with it, which I'm also confused about, because as a nurse, I'm pretty sure you should know how health insurance works, but I guess she wasn't aware of how to do it.
Basically, I took it upon myself to do the insurance, and I said, I'll figure it out. And I just hit rock bottom, and I was like, can you please help? Like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, fine, tell me who to call. So I gave him kind of a general direction of like, this is what I've been doing. He called a few people, and this man had insurance in like 20 minutes, like a good insurance plan. And I said, why didn't I do this freaking 10 months ago? This is why men are always right. This is why I should never trust myself to do anything by myself. Men are always right, superior, and this is why I need a man in my life, is because I would survive without a man.
Divorce, babe, divorce.
I just want to bring up something. Many times, the reason why women stay in traditional marriages is because the man is the main breadwinner and the woman has no college education or no stable job or income, or they have no family that would help them out. But once again, Nurse Hannah makes a lot of money. She has a lot of resources, a college degree, a really good high-paying job, and so much more. So at this point, I honestly don't know what to say, because again, like I said earlier in this video, clearly their marriage dynamic is a very toxic, traditional, religious one, which again doesn't make it okay, but they probably don't see anything wrong with it, even though clearly there is a massive problem with it. Maybe they're staying in this relationship for religious reasons, or because they truly think that this dynamic is the way God intended. And even though this is absolutely wrong and really sad, and I feel like she is being taken advantage of by her husband, and her husband has a massive role to play in all of these problems. You know, there's a lot of people who are always like, well, why isn't the husband getting as much backlash? It's because he's never on screen, unfortunately. He absolutely deserves the equal amount of scrutiny and criticism, but unfortunately, Hannah is the one at the forefront profiting off of exploiting her children. It still doesn't give either of them the right to treat their kids so poorly or to neglect their health. But either way, I find it really crazy. Also, in general, when it comes to Nurse Hannah's job, I'm honestly shocked that she's a nurse and she doesn't take health and prenatal care seriously, but also she doesn't take changing diapers and when her kids have a fever seriously. I don't know how she passed. I don't know how she became a nurse, but I am genuinely shocked.
You need your medications. Yes, you can refuse, but that's just gonna be a whole downward spiral. And I'm not about to have that kind of shift today. Sometimes you crush it up for them. Sometimes you crush it up and put it in an Oreo. You hide it in their breakfast. You know what we do in long-term care? I say, if you take your pills, I will give you a whole carton of cigarettes. That is what I did today to my COPD patient. I just don't understand some people. I really don't. As a nurse, I shouldn't have to put up with this.
There is actually a video of her resurfacing talking about how she enjoyed the fact that her kid had a fever because it meant that he was quote unquote less work, which is really just I'm at a loss for words.
When your toddler is sick with a fever, it's a whole other story. I would never say that I was grateful that James had a fever today, but honestly, it made the day a little bit easier because
No, fevers are kind of a big deal and you're a nurse. You should know that.
also this granola bar was the first thing that James had in like 12 hours. That's all.
That's not a flex. That's a problem.
There has been many rumors being spread around on the internet and fake AI videos of Nurse Hannah being arrested. People saying that there's a CPS investigation open around her and her family. But literally none of this has been confirmed. People have also been making fake screenshots of her supposedly DMing people that she's sorry and that she's gonna change and whatever. But actually, it was recently posted on TikTok that she was found just casually bowling with her family, perfectly fine with their kids still. And honestly, I don't know how to feel about that. It seems like the more saturated the internet becomes with these crazy religious mommy vloggers and kid exploiting TikTok family content, the less and less people take it serious. And the more cases like this get lost within the sea of the other millions of child exploiting family vlogging content. The only thing that brings me comfort is at least these people are stupid enough to film themselves doing these things because they easily exploit themselves and get themselves caught. But what worries me the most is that there are a million Nurse Hannahs out there who don't have a platform, who are silent about it. There are millions of men like Nurse Hannah's husband out there who are enabling and feeding into it as well. I strongly believe that there needs to be more laws protecting children on social media, and that the law should take social media child cases more serious. In my opinion, I believe both Nurse Hannah and her husband need to get arrested. They should have been banned off of TikTok a long time ago, but it doesn't help that these platforms don't care either to hold these people accountable. As of now, Nurse Hannah still has her TikTok up. She is still receiving support to this day, and she is growing in numbers as we speak, with still over 400,000 followers. I've said this before in many of my videos, but many people like this would not have a platform if many people did not support them or follow them. I find it really disturbing that so many people still defend Nurse Hannah to this day, saying that this is what real motherhood looks like. And I've spoken about in past videos where it seems like lately mediocre motherhood and parenthood has been praised, but there is a fine line between burnout, survival mode, trying the best that you can, and then just straight up neglect, harm, and evilness, learned helplessness, and also just greed. The main problem with family vloggers and mommy TikTokers is that once they get a taste of some sort of fame, they just don't know how to stop.
17 Diapers started out as something so freaking negative with bullying, shaming, all the negativity, and it's turned into something so freaking deep and wonderful and incredible, and it's moms supporting moms. So I think I don't know how to get these people's attention because I am so small compared to some of these creators. I have seen so many people, big creators, small creators, everybody make videos about their 17 diapers, which is just the most incredible thing ever. But I don't know how to get the attention of, say, Avery Woods podcast, Matt and Abby podcast. So I need you guys to help me. Tag them, I'm gonna tag them. We need to get 17 diapers to the next level. So let's make that happen.
Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know today's video was kind of more of a deep dive, dark one, but thank you again for sticking around and watching anyways. These are very important topics that we need to talk about, and I'm very passionate about talking about this stuff, so I personally don't mind. If you watched the entire thing, comment down a duck emoji down below in the comments below so that I know that you guys watched the entire thing. Remember to like and subscribe and press the notification bell by the subscribe button so that you are notified whenever I upload a new video. Comment down below what are some topics you would like me to talk about. Let me know what your opinion is on the whole Nurse Hannah thing. Do you think what she's doing is damaging? Do you think it's not? And if you don't think that it's not, get out of here. Remember to listen to my podcast, the Salem Tovar podcast, on Apple Music or Spotify if you want more of this. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram at _Salem Tovar_. I would love to have you guys be there to ask me questions on my stories, but also listen to me rant and talk about other stuff, you can actually join something called The Neighborhood on my Instagram, where I give people behind the scenes filming stuff and more, so you're updated on all the little things I don't show everyone else. Go ahead and join that. Other than that, that is it for today's video. All right, thank you guys so much again, and I will see you in next video.